Thanksgiving has come and gone, and many people were celebrating with large meals, close family, and good friends, just waiting those few hours till they can get back to the big daddy holidays like Christmas and New Year's. But just because Thanksgiving has grown to be lost in November doesn't mean Hollywood didn't get a few good hits on it for some of that sweet green, baby. We've had Thanksgiving animations, live actions, comedies, dramedies, and Charlie Brown. However, they've also been known to dabble in one of my favorite genres, horror. Thanksgiving was the first one I saw, and to this day, I can't remember if I was alone when I watched it or not. Sometimes I don't even think I've seen it at all, which seems to be a running theme for Turkey Day horror because a week before Thanksgiving this year, I found another movie. It piqued my interest, lost it, reeled me back in, only to leave me confused and offended. The movie I speak of? Blood Freak. An old 1972 story about a biker that comes upon a girl with a flat tire and offers her a ride home. He winds up at a drug party with the girl's sister, then follows her to a turkey farm owned by her father, a mad scientist. The father turns the biker into a giant turkey monster who goes after drug dealers. That is word for word the description of this movie, and there are 5 things wrong about it. I'll be sure to point them out as we go along, so with that, I don't want to spoil anything else, so let's just get started. The first thing we see as the grainy film cracks to life is boiling water. They're adding this orange grease, I assume, because it does that shit oil does when it hates water. They roll the title and star of the film before we are stuffed into a wooden box to be narrated at. The whole time, this dude kept glancing down at what is no doubt the script. Why not just hold it by the camera? You're a foot away from him anyway. This guy rambles for some time, and on the first watch, we genuinely couldn't hear half of the dialogue of the whole movie. It wasn't until I re-watched it and turned it way up on my headphones that I could hear everything. Everything, okay? Anywho, all he talks about is how in your life, yes, you, will have chances to meet people, society. These people can hold the ability, whether aware of it or not, to change your life in good or bad ways. He then introduced us to the main character, Herschel, who is riding around on his bike looking all cool and blue and shit when he starts to eye a woman driving in a car. That or he likes the car because it is also blue, so it could be either. Later down the road, the woman pulls to the shoulder, getting out and walking to the hood of her car. So there's the first little error in the summary. Her tire is fine. In fact, after Herschel pulls up, allowing her to gain access to his mind and memories, they just keep driving. In separate vehicles, so error number 2, he doesn't give her a ride. They do end up at a house together. We're led to believe the woman lives here with her sister as she warns Herschel that the group of people in her living room abuse substances. And not the calm ones. These people have tutors. I don't know how common knowledge those are, but look it up because I'm not tempting any backlash for explaining. He tells her he's never done anything. Later we find out is a lie, which isn't a big deal because these people did just meet. He does ask her if she approves of it, however, and her answer is that they're not smoking weed. Is that a yes or a no, Angel? Oh, yeah. By the way, her name is Angel, and her sister's name is Anne, for Antichrist, because she's a fucking bitch this whole movie. Warning now, this is a Christian turkey-murdering, drug-injecting, sex-filled movie. I didn't want to confuse the young Christians out there. This is for you. The two join the group, and offering Herschel a joint, to which he declines, so she insults her sister and tries some small peer pressure tactics. That fails when Angel smites her. No, I wish. Angel goes to change, leaving Herschel with the wolves, and another woman begins to flirt with him, so he leans in and tells her that he somehow knows she has a boyfriend, and he doesn't like tramps. They just met. She does in fact have a boyfriend, so lucky guess, running to a man named Guy after she is rejected. He gives her little comfort, also calling her a tramp, and then backing down from his offer to fight Herschel once he catches the sheer size of the man. We get a lot of footage of people just sitting around and talking. It does look like a completely different group of people though, and is definitely filmed as someone's home video. They then move outside so Anne can continue to insult her sister for liking God, even though everyone around them doesn't mind her beliefs.
Sure. Don't get her started. My sister thinks the whole world's a church, and she's a priest. My sister, she's a doll. But this Bible stuff is really a drag. I think so. I'm really interested. Well, whatever turns you on.
So Angel and Herschel move inside. Anne only follows, draping herself over Herschel, just bucking with his hair as he contains the killer inside. The whole time, Angel is reading from the Bible, and they end the bit by cutting in 3 clips from obviously different parts of the movie, as if they're in the same room listening. This dude is clearly outside still, so I don't know how he heard any of that. In the end, Angel and Herschel decide to leave the house they clearly don't want to be in, to which Satan, Anne starts insulting the both of them.
What kind of a dope are you? Go ahead, turn into a Bible freak.
Once the two leave, Anne goes to talk with that guy fellow from before, and she asks him for a drug that she can slip to Herschel to get him addicted. Because hear her out now, she thinks if her sister keeps showing interest in the man who clearly likes her back, then Anne won't have a chance with him. So, she's just a peach. Before the plot can do anything at all, we're back in the box with the man who had the 70s vomit on him, as he continues to barely read from the script just below the camera. He offers nothing interesting once again, so I move on. Herschel and Angel are talking with her father now, as he also fights the aneurysm to finish glazing God. He offers Herschel a job at his poultry farm, while Angel allows him to stay at her and her sister's house till he can get back on his feet. See, Herschel is a Vietnam veteran and has just returned home, so he is neither a house nor a job. Sort of makes sense for the plot. He's to start his new job on Monday. We don't know what day it is currently when he is offered any of this, but when we see him on the farm, it will be a Monday. However, we do get to see a day before the prophesized Monday where Herschel is doing his best to really look busy fucking around with this pool cleaner, and comes out to bother him some more, starting to insult him once again when he tries to continue his work. So he gives in, asks her a question, to which she tells him to shut up. Anne gets under my skin so much I hate it. Anyway, this somehow works in getting Herschel to want to talk with her, and she tries once again to get him to smoke, this time adding that he would be a coward if he didn't.
No thank you. No thank you. No thank you. How can such a big hunk of man be such a damn coward?
Herschel can't have this slander to his name, so he takes a joint. And we get to see the same action repeat 3 times. He takes a drag. She spends 20 seconds telling him to hold it, almost begging.
That's it. Do it again. Deep breath now. Come on. Deep, 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 deep. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it.
Then he breathes out. They do this 2 more times before she takes 1 hit, and they both start acting like this. Of course, now with Herschel high off his ass and having been trying to have sex with him the whole time, they do hook up. Once the morning comes, Herschel isn't upset at being drugged. He's upset because the alarm wasn't set, and he's now late for his first day at the poultry farm. So we get to see him ride to the farm alone. Just summary error number 3 right there. Once he does get to the farm, we get weirdly cut footage of him just walking around, looking and poking at a bunch of turkeys. If you have the volume up, which you're almost forced to, you can hear them yelling at the birds to get them to make noise. At one point, barking. He's introduced to 2 doctors that work for the father. One of them has the face of my friend, and it startles me every time he comes on screen. The doctors tell Herschel that he's going to be doing basic jobs around the farm until they can find a place for him, and then they offer him a separate job. You see, the farm doesn't just breed turkeys. No, they run experiments. They tell Herschel that if he's willing to be a part of one, they can give him some extra money, as well as some more drugs. He agrees, and they tell him to bring his appetite the next day before sending him back to wander the farms, just looking at birds and shit. He returns to Anne's place that night and is a complete mess. He keeps squatting about the room and flinging himself onto chairs. Anne finds him and immediately just knows to call Guy for more drugs, because apparently this is from a half a day of withdrawals. What the hell was he given? Guy comes over, doing his best to lurk in the background while we wait a long time for Anne to light the joint. Now that Herschel's bloodlust is contained, he must make a show of threatening Guy for dosing him, while also demanding free drugs for life, and all I can think about is how nasty his arm looks right now. Yuck. By this point in the movie, the humor of shitty acting and poor audio quality was wearing off, and I was getting bored. All they keep doing is talking about drugs and God. This is meant to be horror. I need scares. Luckily, I was convinced to keep watching, and what came next was pure gold. Herschel goes to his second day of work, ready to eat, so we watch him bare hand dig into a turkey for 5 minutes before taking a little walk around the grounds. He then dies. Just starts convulsing in the grass and dies. One of the doctors comes out doing his absolute best to not see the violently shaking man on the ground 2 feet in front of him. He finally does notice, figuring it is the best option for him to dump Herschel's body, and we get a scene of them telling the boss this information. I can't get over how it looks like this actor got scolded in between takes.
But Mr. Nolan, you didn't see him, sir. We were scared.
Anyway, the dad leaves, the 2 doctors talk it over and decide to quit working for the man, like we care. I only care about the fucking person breathing in the mic the whole goddamn time.
Are we gonna tell the police, or are we gonna...
We visit Anne, who is worried for Herschel. She's known him for 4 days, so she should know when something is up. After all, it's not like him to lie or make bad choices. She is right to worry, however, because the doctors don't know how to dump a body, having laid him perfectly fine in a new patch of grass, which turns out to be a good idea as he isn't dead, his body jerking around some more before dying. Psych, he's fine. Did I say fine? I meant fine dining. He's a turkey now. He goes to find his beloved Anne, and we get to spend a very long time looking at only her hand. Oh, and maybe this. Hershey begins to write letters to her, so let's pray Anne can even read, as all of our information for what's happening will come from her. She's having a hard time getting past his horrible looks.
Gosh, Herschel, you sure are ugly.
But is able to read very slowly and not always aloud, and he starts by asking her for drugs, which she ignores in favor of roasting him some more, coming to her own conclusion that she loves him no matter what. That is, until she starts talking about how fugly the children would look, and I can already tell she doesn't mean it. Hershey figures if he can't get drugs, then he'll get sex, as the 2 start making out just in time for the scene to end. Thank God I didn't want to see that. The next morning, Anne calls her sister over for help, and we get to see them talk, but not hear anything, the man from the wooden box apparently having escaped the confines of the camera and now narrating over top dialogue. I'll be honest, I didn't listen to what he said because I was trying to figure out what they were talking about in the movie. You know, the movie I'm trying to watch. Anne invites some friends over later that night, and they're the same 2 dudes from when she was worried about Herschel. They assume she's on drugs, fair, when she starts talking about Hershey, who then walks down the hall and fades into a new scene as he is now outside, walking around till he finds a window to peek through. The person in the window just so happens to be Guy, that drug dealer, and his girlfriend, both partaking in their own supply. Hershey waits till the visit is over, and the woman begins to leave. Now I'm gonna show a sped-up version of what happens, because everything moves slow as molasses, but there are no words I have to describe this attack. Brutal. There's another summary error, actually, the last 2. First one, this is not a giant turkey monster. That's a normal dude with a turkey head, okay? He's just a normal guy, sized. Second, he didn't kill the dealer. He killed the girl. And he does that multiple times throughout the movie, choosing to pick the girl over the drug dealer. So, did you even watch the movie? He ends up finding another woman who is partaking by a tree. This time we get to see why he is hunting these women down, and it's to drain and drink their blood for the drugs inside. He's still hooked on whatever Guy gave him, and now can only get the high from junkies. Though, Anne could have gotten him drugs if he didn't have sex with her, and the scientists were offering him drugs if he just showed them he was alive. So I don't know why this is his own conclusion, but his head is a turkey, so he's probably not thinking straight. During his second murder, however, someone stumbles across Hershey as he's drinking the blood, and she reacts accordingly. Actually, that's not enough reaction. Let's try that again. Perfect. During all this, Anne is back home with her friends, telling them how dangerous Herschel gets when he doesn't get drugs. The friends mention maybe going to look for him, considering now he's a part turkey, to which she doesn't do. Instead, Hershey goes out and finds himself a third victim, once again targeting the woman instead of the dealer, so I'm making that error worth 2. Come on. Once again, someone stumbles across Hershey drinking down the blood. Too bad for this man here, Hershey was not in the mood as he proceeds to strangle him to death. What happened next, I was not ready for. A man comes from the home, sees the other dead, and runs to cradle him. It is only then I noticed the wig they had put on the second man. This was no man. This was a wife. I'm guessing they couldn't get a middle-aged, plump actress to play the wife, so they just put a guy in a wig and said, that'll work. Anyway, the wife pulls a screwdriver to attack the turkey man, avenging her husband. She's able to blind him in one eye just as screaming starts. I don't know who's the one screaming because it lasts for an odd amount of time, but I'm going to assume it's Hershey. We get to visit Anne once again, who now figures she should send her friends out to find her crazed mutated boyfriend and bring him home, while she herself goes to visit Guy. The two chat for a while, and then she goes to lay down in a room in his house, apparently, while he calls up another drug dealer and has him come over. Once the second man arrives, Guy tells him he is free to have his way with Anne because he doesn't have the money for the drugs. The other dealer, looking like a man who would agree to a sexual crime in the 70s, agrees. But before he can do anything other than touch her, he's scared by a Hershey in the window. Another long, slow scene where the dealer leaves the house and is ultimately hunted down and killed by Hershey ensues. So he does get one drug dealer. But compared to the 3 other women, it's not his typical thing. I'm gonna be real, not much else happened, so I'll sum it up. It was all a dream. Anne's 2 friends end up having found Hershey in another field, cutting his head off, and the movie pairs Hershey getting his head cut off with an actual living turkey also getting decapitated, and it's really jarring to watch, but it is there at the end of the movie. It does immediately go into this pretty sick scene of the fake human turkey hybrid head sitting on a table as everyone then eats Hershey's turkey meat for dinner, I guess. But yeah, about the end of the movie, as we're shoved back into the wooden box to watch the man hack up a lung as the neat little bow they decided to place on top of this movie. There's not much else I really have to say. I'm pretty sure the movie speaks for itself. It's a terrible Thanksgiving horror, and I love it. So, till next time.